Hello, everybody. Welcome to Games with Neve. I'm Neve, and today I'm going to start a playthrough with Echoes of the Plum Grove. So it's the start of a Let's Play series, and I hope you'll stick around and watch more. Okay, so we're just starting a new game, and so I'm just going to click on the new game. And this is a game I've played several hours in, and so far I've really enjoyed it. And my goal with this Let's Play is to go through a full year. And so now we are creating a person. So I want to try the they them. Okay, so I'm going to choose a they them, and as you can see, it's still the character does not really change. Let's try the randomizer and see if there's an oh, actually, sorry, this is not a randomizer. Oh, they I just realized this, they don't actually have a randomizer. Okay, so let's do they them. I'm keeping the eyes. I will choose a different skin color, maybe this one, and the nose shape. So I have been using the triangle. The round nose looks super cute. The square one looks a bit odd. So I think for this playthrough, I might go with the round nose. And then, so with regards to the so yeah, so the body is very gender neutral, which is really nice. With the hair, I do want the character to be more male, so I'm going to choose black hair. I do tend to choose red or black hair when I play games. And let's take a look at the red. Okay, that's kind of cute. So yeah, so when you're first playing, when you first set up your character, you have limited hair, and then later on we can tailor our look more when we start playing. So okay, so let's go with this. I do think I like it better in black. Yeah, okay, I do like it better in black. Okay, yeah, let's not do white. Let's do black. And then with regards to the outfit, so I do prefer a more male outfit. So let's see. Now, I think I might want it in green. And green or black versus brown. So in this playthrough, I am not sure. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do the farming route yet. I might actually. I might do the farming route. So let's see if we can pick an outfit. I've used this outfit before several times, but I don't think I've ever used this one or this one or this one. So I think this one kind of looks cute. And let's take a look at the accessories. So let's see if that looks better with the black or the brown. I think it looks a bit better with the black and the red. But the green is kind of nice. It feels very hobbitish. So yeah, let's go with a bit more of the hobbit style. And then with the shoes, let's go. So these are more the female shoes. You can see by the heels. Kind of like it with the laces. So let's go with the laces. Now, so far I haven't really liked the glasses. I feel like they make the character look much older than they should be. Which I guess in real life, especially since we're dealing with like 1700s, people didn't really want to wear glasses because it can make people look older, or just generally speaking, you know, being nearsighted is a form, is, I would guess, a form of disability at that time, because glasses will be really expensive, so not a lot of people will be able to afford it. So, and it's difficult to work when you cannot really see in a distance. So let's just go with no glasses, and let's just go confirm. Now, with regards to the name, I've been playing a character named Alexi Vice. So I do want to keep the last name. But for the first name, I might change it to Alex. Okay? And I'll spell it in this way, just to be contrary. And let's go confirm. And basically, to make it easier for me to say the name. So let's go confirm and let's get started. And I'm just setting myself a timer while this cutscene plays through. So my goal is to play for around 1 hour today. And we'll see how that goes. So, Timothy Tweed, my dearest friend, you have finally arrived. Just beyond that horizon lies a new world, a fresh start. I hope you are as excited as I am. Just think of all the opportunities that await us. Soon the two of us will occupy our own plot of land and we can begin our new adventure. A land on which to grow what we please, to build what we please. The possibilities are limitless. And then the captain speaking, all aboard, we will be departing momentarily. Passengers, to your designated area if you please. Timothy Tweed, it's just about time. There will be ample opportunity to catch up in the weeks to come. I actually kind of really like this setting. The art of this game was initially what drew me to it. And then the survival elements I found was something new to to a lot of the farming games, and I kind of was intrigued at the idea. And I love this whole idea of basically leaving your homeland and traveling to a new country. So Captain, yar, this storm is a fierce one. This is so cute. The wheel, I can't keep her steady. Hang on, everyone. The wood is cracking beneath us, Timothy says. I fear this may be the end for us all. My friend, we cannot afford to die here. We have so much to live for. The hull is breaking apart, the captain says. Everyone, abandon ship. My dearest friend, Timothy, I have treasured the times we spent together. If by chance one of us should perish, please take care of the... And there it is. I've always been kind of curious with this cutscene about the main character's relationship with Timothy, because I do feel it's quite suggestive, and I feel like saying friend is very I don't know necessarily if they're actually friends or they're friends with the quotation marks. So I've always kind of thought they're more the second. Okay, so now we are waking up in a new location, and here's an old lady, Luna MacBell. Goodness, you're finally awake. We had such a terrible storm last night. This little old lighthouse was rattling something fierce. Imagine my surprise when I found you washed up on the beach this morning. I couldn't just leave you there, of course. But my dear, I hate to be the bearer of grave news. I'm afraid you may be the only survivor. That's really sad. And I love how their expressions reflect the fact that this is such a sad news. We found you amidst the wreckage. The others, I fear, have likely perished in that dreadful storm. Don't fret, dearie. That was quite an ordeal, I'm sure. But you're safe now, and that's what matters. Aw, I know, this is a lot to take in, Luna says. I can only imagine. But when you're feeling up to it, I have someone who wishes to meet with you. Someone rather important, no less. Just head through the door. When you're ready, we'll be waiting. So I apologize ahead of time for any mispronunciations that I may have or that, may come across because of my accent. But yeah, so I generally speaking don't always notice the settings in other games, but maybe because this is, I think it's called a 2.5 or 2.5D type visual, that I do find like looking at the way the other houses are set up, it's kind of giving me ideas of how to set up my own house. And uh this area is actually quite nice in my opinion. So we're just going through the tutorial and we're exiting through the door. Yeah, so I love the candles and the fact that the windows have curtains, and then the way the paintings are set up. So, yeah, so this is, and the bed. I'm kind of hoping there's different ways we can set up the bed because I really like this color. This color. Oh, and yeah, I really like this setting. Okay, so Quentin Whitfield says, aha, so good to see you up and about. Feeling better then? No broken bones? I heard about your situation. Such a tragedy. The sea is a cruel mistress. At the same time, I must offer you a proper welcome. Though the circumstances may be less than ideal, you've found your way to our fair town of Honeywood. The name's Quentin Whitfield. I'm the mayor here. I love how both Quentin and Luna, who are older characters, they have this hunch and they have lines on their face that basically indicate their age because it's I think it's these little details that kind of makes Plum Grove very interesting. And then I really love the look of this cottage. It feels very homey and cozy to me. And if I can afford it, I'd love to set up something similar for our future farm. So Quentin continues, I presume you're one of the fine folks who purchased that old lot out east. We were on the lookout for you and your friend. Timothy was his name, I believe. I'm afraid he may not have survived the shipwreck. A tragedy, to be sure. Alas, that old farm remains as vacant as ever, and those weeds aren't going to cut themselves. What say you? Would you be willing to settle on our fair island nonetheless? I mean, yes, of course. Where else would we go? But something that I would find interesting in future farm games is I feel like in all the farm games, you're just given the farm right away, whether it's because you inherited it or in this case, because you purchased it ahead of time. But you know what? I would really like a mechanic wherein maybe you're hired to work on the farm, and that you have to earn money to buy your own land. And so as you're working on the farm, you get paid wages, and then you eventually get to build your farm. So, or not necessarily work as a farm, but maybe given the option to work, with some of the other shops. Because sometimes when I play these games, I feel it's so unrealistic that they give you a house right away, and and they just basically let you have the land right away. So especially the ones wherein you're like shipwrecked, and then they find you. Uh, I feel like it's more realistic that they rent you a place, or that you would have to work with some of the villagers to save money to be able to buy a place. So yeah, so that would be an interesting mechanic for future games, and I hope that one of the future farming sims will do something like that. Okay, so Quentin continues, "It's settled then. Follow me, and I'll take you to your new home. It's but a short distance from here, over the bridge to the east." And Luna interjects, "Take care, my dear. I pack some food to help you get started. So we use the spacebar to eat. It'll be in your inventory. So to get the inventory, it's I." So in this game, I am playing with keyboard and mouse, and I'm playing on my PC. Um, I am not sure if this is available anywhere else. As far as I'm aware, it's not yet, and there is limited controller support, which um, I'm playing this game after a couple of updates have been added. So I feel so. From my understanding from the updates, they are working pretty hard on getting the controller support up and running. But actually, I feel like the controls in this game is actually fairly reasonable. I haven't really had much issues, unlike some other early access games. So, okay, so let's go on. Okay, so Quentin says, "Many thanks for your hospitality, Luna. Now, off to the farm." So as we're walking, I feel like to be honest, the animation is a bit jerky. This is where I think I am using a laptop that's been a couple years old, and to be honest, this laptop is not really meant for gaming. So I feel like the video card on this laptop is kind of struggling with a little bit. So, one of my goals in the near future, hopefully in a few months, is to invest in a gaming laptop. So yeah. So hopefully I won't have this issue anymore. Okay. So Quentin says, "The waves seem calmer than usual this morning. The calm after the storm, perhaps. You see, despite the storms that come through here, we're a regular stop on the trade routes." Yeah, I love the setting of this game. I know not everybody's going to like it, but I find, because maybe it's because there's so much green and how they set it up, that I find it a very calming kind of game. So even though there's survival elements, I don't feel as stressed. Well, other than when I first played this, but now that I'm kind of used to it, I don't feel as stressed as with other survival games that I've played. So, what Quentin says, "This here is our charming schoolhouse where the children of Honeywood spend their day learning." I love how there's a school and the children actually go to school. Mayhaps your own offspring will go one day go here too. So I actually really want to go and do a playthrough where you do not get married, but unfortunately, I think one of the requirements in terms of completing this game is for you to get married. So we'll see, because I kind of want to do an adoption and maybe not get married right away, but I haven't quite made up my mind. So let's we may explore and check out what's happening in the future. Okay, so now where was that thing? Quentin says. Ah, yes, here it is. I'm so glad I always keep an extra on me. So you shan't be lost. I present you with a map of the island. It's yours to keep. West from here is the center of Honeywood and my estate. You can ponder your map later. So to get the map, it's M. And you can now see where things are located and which shops are open at what time of day. That's excellent. So click on signposts on the map to fast travel to different locations around the island. This will help you move around more easily. Now, let us keep moving. We're but a few minutes away. My, I hadn't realized the farm had fallen into such disrepair. Well, that just means you can truly make it your own. An honest day's work is good for the soul, isn't that right? Although it might take more than a day's work to clean this place up. Ho ho ho. Now, there's a topic of taxes. The land is yours to keep, but taxes will always be due at the end of every week. You can find me at the town hall later today to sign your name on the deed and work out the details of the payment. Oh, I almost forgot. The previous owners might have left some equipment in the farmhouse when they left. Be sure to take a look. There might be some tools lying around to help you get started. Okay? So, let's get ourselves situated. So right now we have our pemmican and we have journey cakes. We might end up. I usually end up selling those. So let's get in. And here's our house. And let's take a look at our tools. So there's this chest. Okay, and there's all our tools. So we start with 15 seeds right off the bat. Okay, and we also have a drying rack. So, so one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little rearranging. I want to move this crafting table, and I want to move it so that it's right beside the bed over here. Okay, let me just. Okay, and the reason why is because I want to give myself as much room as possible to put in like the preserving jars, etc. And then I also want to move this chest. So in order to move something like a chest, basically the chest has to be empty. So if the chest is not empty, then you cannot move it. And then and one thing I really like is the mechanic of using the hammer. So because then that means that only when you have the hammer on will you be able to move things around. So let's put our drying rack here. Okay, so the drying rack is used to help process food ingredients. So in this game, you can eat the raw crops and fruits. You can even eat like the raw fish, etc. However, the raw food tends to not, so there's the hunger meter and our sleep meter. And with the hunger meter, it starts to go down as you go through the day. And what happens is you want to make sure that you don't fall into the zero, which means you're starving, because that will cause your health to go down. The same thing with the sleeping as well. You don't want it to go to zero, but with the sleeping, I believe the only way you can recover is through the bed. Now there is recipes for cakes, etc. And so the cakes allow you to not sorry not cakes, coffee and tea. I haven't really explored coffee and tea that much, but it may allow you to recover the rest if you use them. So let's just set up our farming tools. And I don't want the hammer. I might leave the hammer there. So we are going to be, we will, okay, I don't want to farm yet. I want to get more seeds. So let's go down, and so there's a couple, so as you can see, there's this, so that means that one thing that's really nice about, that's both nice and not nice about this game, is that um, you get logs from the trees. Now the reason it's nice is because is a renewable resource, but the problem with it is that it's a limited resource. Oh, we get a character here. Okay, so there's one villager, so let's go talk to them to introduce ourselves. So her name says Temperance. Oh, it's you. Listen, you'd better take care of that empty farm of yours. So we're going to click talk. I may be jaded, but I still enjoy boiled pudding. Ah, so we learned something about her right away. And sorry, I'm not feeling too chatty. Okay, and then you can see the with the villagers, you can gift them, you can insult them, and you can trade with them. So by if you choose to gift them, you can basically gift them. When you click gift, I can give them anything, pretty much anything in my inventory. However, just like with a lot of other farming games, there's distinct likes and dislikes with villagers. So if you pick the wrong one, then their friendship meter can fall into the red. Okay, so be cautious. Now another thing about the gifting is that you can only give one item a week. So if you give them the wrong one, you there's no way for you to give them another gift until the week is up. And the interesting here is that I believe the week is whenever you actually give the gift. So for example, if I give Temperance a gift on Monday, then it resets next Monday. If I give another villager on Tuesday, then it resets on Tuesday. So it's actually kind of interesting. Instead, or at least that's how I remember it. I don't think it resets because the game resets basically every midnight. So that's when, you know, a lot of the forageables, the logs, etc., gets replenished. So but yeah, but with the other with the gifting, yeah, so I believe it replenishes 7 days after you actually give it to them. Now if you do the insult, then yes, that's another way to bring your friendship down with the villagers into the red. You can recover friendship points just by talking to them or by gifting them something they like. Okay, the insult luckily only lasts for a day. So if you insult them, then you cannot talk to them anymore and you cannot gift them anymore. However, you can still trade with them. So the trading mechanic is something I really love. I love how everybody, including the children, have something to trade. And actually I thought at first I wasn't going to trade with the children, but actually the children pick up quite a lot of nice things. So if you trade with the children, they tend to pick up a lot of the more miscellaneous items, so things like sand, things like fruit, etc., that a lot of the other villagers won't carry. So yeah, so I love the fact that every villager has their own kind of thing. So it actually helps develop a community. It actually helps develop the relationship with the villagers. So now we're going to trade. Okay, and Temperance only has 70 coins. I start off with 25 coins, and she has a rug. That's actually quite a nice rug, but obviously we cannot afford it. So with regards to the trading mechanic, it's actually a bit of a barter system. So as you can see, I have all these items. Anything that's grayed out, I cannot trade. So basically she's not accepting them. So this is something interesting because usually in a lot of other games you can trade everything, but here there's some items that nobody takes, and I think the plantain though, the doctor accepts the plantain, I think. Okay, so for example, with the logs, so as you can see, the items have their prices here. So that's basically how it will trade per piece. So in this case, I have 4 logs. So if I trade it, if I left click on it, I get basically, well, if you right click, you're able to trade the entire group. So as you can see, I can get 40 gold back. But if I want the rug, you can see that I still owe Temperance 274. So if I put in everything that I have, I still owe her 31. So even after everything, I still cannot afford this rug. So yeah. So and in order to bring everything you traded back, you just right click and this will bring them back to cancel. Okay? So, yeah. And also, the coins Temperance has also limits her as well. So, for example, if I try to sell her my food, the food I have, as you can see, there's an arrow going to me. That means she owes me 42 coins. But then once I start adding too much, as you can see, when we get to 72 coins, she doesn't have enough. And so that's why the trade cannot occur. So in this case, let's just cancel. And I'm just going to press escape to cancel this trade. Okay, and then we'll just let her go on her merry way. Okay, so my goal here, oh, there's another person, so let's just start introducing ourselves. So this is Kat. Nice to meet you, Alex Weiss. I'm Kat Hopkins and I'm the innkeeper. So let's talk to her. Everyone has certain types of music that they prefer, but Quentin can dance to just about anything. That actually reminds me of the older people who likes to ballroom dance. I've seen. Uh, I'm not into the ballroom dance scene, but I've seen some videos of the older couples when they dance, and I've always thought that it's such a sweet idea. Okay, so Jacob Ryle is always talking about his indigo plants. I guess he really loves his job. Well, that's what all of us hope to. That's the hope of most people, is to really love their job. So now let's see what she has to trade. Okay, so Kat has a lot of food related goods, and as you can see, food in this game, like processed food, can be really expensive. Now, the thing that I wish this game has is I wish there was a sorting mechanic, because as you can see, her food is not in any order. So you have to really scroll up and down if you want to figure out what's the cheapest. And let's see, what is the cheapest she has? So there's a couple of items here that are 30. And that's basically the cheapest processed food. So, and in this game, like I said, there's the hunger meter. So if we go and take a look at some of these food, let's take a look at the beer. So as you can see, it says 10 days until rot. So this is a mechanic that is not common in a lot of games, and I think this is more a survival mechanic, wherein every food has a rotting mechanic. So this means that you can only have it up to 10 days, and then after 10 days it'll turn rotten and you cannot use it as anything other than compost. Now, I'm not sure. I might turn off rot. I don't know yet. The reason why is because it's really hard to do recipes in this game if you have the rotting mechanic on. So we'll kind of see. The nice thing about this game is when you go into the options, you have a lot of things you can turn off to make your gameplay easier, or if you want to achieve certain goals. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Now the other nice thing is you don't have to buy these food because of that rotting mechanic. So as you can see, this is turnip soup. So this rots after 4 days, but it gives you plus 14 hunger. In comparison, we have the journey cakes. So the journey cakes is also 4 days and it's plus 6. But as you can see, if I choose to sell it, it's a half the price of the turnip soup. So it's up to you whether it's worth the trade to do that. Now the pemmican is 10 coins, but it's 22 days. So it's a very long lasting snack. Um, and basically it will last you pretty much. You don't have to eat it until the next season because each season in this game is only 21 days, so it actually will last you basically one entire season. So pemmican is definitely a food that you will probably survive off of. However, the recipe for this is not something you have right away, so you have to get the recipe, and the ingredients is also not something you can get right away. So yeah. Okay. So Kat is a useful person to know, and she's actually a good person to build friendship with. Okay, so all the best. So there's several farms here, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk to these people and try to see if we can get more seeds from them. Oh, there's another person here. Let's talk to her first. So Alice Odell, welcome to Honeywood. I'm Alice Odell and I'm the milliner. So let's talk to her. Edwin Chesney is always working on that farm of his, but he seems to enjoy it. Walter goes hunting for bears sometimes. That sounds frightening. Okay, so let's see what she has to trade. So Alice is basically, so like she said, she's the milliner. She is basically the source of a lot of the clothing, accessories, etc. And you'll notice that she has a lot of clothes that is not available when you first start off. So I love that. I love the idea that, there's items that you get only when you start playing the game. And as you can see, they can be quite pricey. Okay, so you can buy them from her, or if you go to her shop in town, you can also buy them from her there, and you can dress yourself. So some of the items, things like clothes, right? They stay in your inventory, and then you can switch clothes at any time. But things like the hair, mustache, glasses, that kind of thing, they basically disappear when you buy them, and they only show up when you go to her store and choose the tailor option. So you cannot just like switch hair at any time you want. You have to visit her store if you want to switch like the actual hair, and I think it's primarily hair, glasses, beard, that kind of thing. Okay, so a lot of this is expensive. Yeah, so the clothing decorations, they're really pricey in this game. So they're like more of our, maybe later on in the summer, spring, or maybe even in summer. So let's talk to him. So Edwin Chesney, welcome to Honeywood. I'm Edwin Chesney. You're from the mainland, yes? So I've heard that there are bears deep in the forest. That's a little unsettling. Sometimes I like to read books at home, but other times I like to read books by the river. Every day is different. So let's see what he has to trade. So, yeah, so the farms around your area is where you get a lot of the seeds. There's not an actual grocery store where you can buy seeds, which took me a while to understand. So yeah, so just watch out for that. Now, one thing about this game, from my hours playing it, is that as far as I'm aware, there's no sprinkler mechanic, or and your watering can does not allow you to water more than just one plot at a time. And so, if you don't want to spend all your time farming, it's really good to limit the amount of crops you grow. And I kind of want to do a balance between farming and also doing the foraging, doing questing, etc. So in this case, I want to make sure that I only buy what's necessary. So let's take a look at what they have. So he has wheat, he has potatoes, he has turnip, cabbage, peas, and onions. Okay, and then this is hay. So the hay is primarily for for the if you have a barn, etc. In this case, we have a lot of grass and weeds in the farm, so there's no need for the hay. The wheat is when you grow the wheat, not only can you sell the wheat, but you can also convert it to flour, which has a little bit more value, but it's also very useful if you want to create your own food. Okay. However, in the spring, there's a much cheaper food that's available. So I don't know if we're should we do wheat. I might choose to just do 7 wheat. So let's just do 7 wheat. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, and as you can see, that's already giving us 28. And but the more important one that I want to do is the pea seeds. The reason why is because it although it takes 8 days to mature, you can harvest from it every 2 days. So this is a constant and an easy source. So other than the turnips, I want to focus on the pea seeds, and the rest of them I will leave because right now I don't have much money. So once again, I'll also do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So as you can see, 63, we're already short. So we might have to trade some of our turnips. So let's see if we can bring this down. Okay, so even though I want to only plant about 7 turnips, I do recommend keeping a couple well, actually, you know what? We might plant 7 turnips. Okay, yeah, I was going to keep a couple more seeds because the thing about this game is you do get seeds back, but sometimes you don't get the same amount of seeds that you planted. So I do recommend keeping 1 or 2. However, at this point in the game, we're very short on funds. So, and then I might sell a couple of these journey cakes because, yeah. So now I was able to sell them, and I am still short. So I might plant less wheat. So maybe just go 6 wheat. Okay. Okay. So let's do that. As you can see, now I have 23 gold, and let's sell it. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go get some logs. So here's another tree. Oh, and there's the plantains. So this plantain is one of the best foods you can get when you're first starting off. It's free. As you can see, you only need to pick it up. And I'm just going to move it here. I'm going to move the seeds down here. So I'm always reorganizing my inventory. I'll put the hammer here. Okay. Because I have a tendency to click on these numbers, and I don't want to accidentally consume things like that I don't need. Okay, so let's talk to Sarah Edwards. You're you're Alex Wise, right? I've heard about you. I'm Sarah Edwards. I'm exhausted. Feels like I've been out for hours. I bet William Watt spends a lot of money on nails. And let's go trade. So yeah, so the interesting thing is I wouldn't say the NPC dialogue is really that well rounded, because sometimes I feel they do say the same things over and over again, but I do feel definitely that the NPCs, there's a certain kind of character to them, so that it does make them feel more unique. So even though they might have repetitive dialogue, it doesn't feel as boring. And also, you don't have to necessarily talk to them all the time. Sometimes I would just click right on the trade, if especially if I'm rushing. So now I'm heading into the forest. And what we're doing here is we're just foraging. So, generally speaking, I try to head to the forest as early as possible. The reason why is I've kind of noticed that if you go in the evenings, um, I'm less likely to find things in the evenings. And also, it's harder to see because this game gets really dark in the evenings, which I kind of wish it didn't get so dark. But the forest is where you can get some rare forageables, and this is also where you can meet some of the forest animals like the bears that people keep mentioning. I was actually thinking that I was going to see a bear today. That's partially why I went up here. As you can see there. Okay, so now we're just going to grab some trees. Now, this is the area where you can go mining. The only thing is, we cannot go mining right away because we don't have a lantern and it gets really dark. So you're not going to be able to see it. So even though the mining is there, the mine shaft is there, you cannot actually go there until you have a lantern. Oh, and here's another villager, so let's just go talk to them. I hope your voyage wasn't too rough on you. I'm Tom Odell. I'm the milliner. Mabel Chesney's like a walking encyclopedia of bee knowledge. It's something else. Alice Odell knows all about the latest fashion trends in the old world. Okay, so let's see what she has to trade. So Tom is Alice's husband. And the nice thing here is that every shop basically has two NPCs that is working in them, and they're not necessarily always two adults. It could be one adult and one child. And so basically anybody who's working together in the same shop shares the same inventory. So this is a really nice mechanic, because that means you can trade. You know, if you, for example, want to trade with like let's say the milliner, then either Alice or Tom, you can talk to them and you're going to be able to get the same options. Now, this is both good and bad because, you know, for example, if you need, thread, and let's say Tom is out of thread, then Alice will also be out of thread. So, and you have to wait until the next day for their inventory to reset. Now, another thing is the inventory resets daily. So that doesn't just mean quantity, it also means the items being sold. So, for example, Tom has some very interesting clothes here. Like, I like this one with the jacket, and I also like this hair with the ribbon. Unfortunately, this tomorrow this might not be available. This is a very funny one. It's like a toupee with bald spots. That's so that's so funny. And I can't remember if I've seen a character with the bald spots yet, but yeah. That's so funny. Okay. So let's move on. And let's get this. So now let's go back to our farm. The reason why is because it's 3:30. It's starting to get dark. Um, oh, and this both adds to the realism of the game. But yeah, like I said, it gets really dark, and when it gets dark in this game, it's actually really hard to do anything but forage. Okay, even foraging can be hard as well because it's hard to notice the items on the ground that's available. But when it comes to farming, Oh, here's a little girl. Let's talk to them. You're Alex Vice. That's funny. I think my name is better than yours. So this is Molly Chesney. So probably the daughter of Edwin. So mom is always bringing home weird plants from the forest. Are they supposed to be valuable? Why does our teacher expect us to learn grammar? It seems useless. I love how the kids kind of, there are some kids that complain about like schoolwork, and then there's some kids who love it, and I find that so cute. Okay, so as you can see that Molly doesn't have a lot of money, so a lot of the kids usually don't have a lot of money, so you usually cannot sell to them. But as you can see, Molly has an egg, so this egg is something that you can purchase from her, and they have other things here. So the worms, you can use if you have the recipe to make fishing bait or fishing hooks, so you can use that. And then this one is also used for other recipes. But these two items, to be honest, I never really buy them, because if you're farming, you're going to dig them up off the ground. So yeah. And in this case, I don't think I have any recipes wherein I can use an egg, and it is 10 gold, so we're just not going to do that. So let's just close it. Teehee, bye. Oh, here's another little girl. Hi, I'm Judith Johns. Are you gonna live in Honeywood now? So, mother always makes me brush my teeth before bed. That's just the way life is. Our teacher is the best. I learned so much from him. So, as you can see, two very different perspectives. And let's take a look. Ah, she has wool, so sheep fur. And they also have seeds. So, if we want to buy seeds, we can buy it. But we already have enough seeds, so let's just now the nice thing about this as well is that it's both nice, but it would be interesting, because the to add this mechanic, every NPC sells at the same price. So for example, the egg will always be 10 coins, and it doesn't matter who you talk to. But it would be an interesting mechanic if they allowed, for example, kids to sell the eggs cheaper. Or maybe the individual NPCs will sell it more expensive, but if you talk to the rancher, then the rancher will sell it at a cheaper price. So, if there's like a variation in price, but I guess this game already has so much to track that if you do it that way, I feel like it's very exciting, but at the same time it can add a lot more complexity and a lot more stress for some people. Would I call Ecos of the Plum Grove a cozy game? It gives off cozy vibes, but because of all the survival elements, if you choose to not turn them off, I would not really say it's cozy, because it does mean that you have to, track things. But if you want to make it a little bit more cozy, I would say the thing I would turn off is I would turn off the food rotting. So the item decay, I would turn that off, because I feel like that will probably make your game a lot easier and a lot cozier. So you can leave the other things on, but just turning that off, I think, will make a massive difference. Okay, so let's cancel this transaction and so cheerio, and let's head back. Oh, here's another item that we can pick up. I kind of wish that items you can pick up like has like a glitter or something, because they can be, you know, when you play this game enough, you'll start to notice them. However, they are very easy to miss when you're first starting out. So let's start setting up our farm. So let's set up our inventory first. So let's move this here, here, here. And as you can see, with regards to the items, there's three levels. There's bronze, silver, and gold. And I recommend whenever you get a gold item that you keep it for the future, well, actually, if you turn off the rotting mechanic, then it'll be easier to keep them. But because there is the rotting mechanic, the basically the gold items will also rot. Now, is there another difference? Yes, basically the bronze items will rot faster. So in this case, for example, I have plantains, I have a silver one and a bronze one. So the bronze one rots in 7 days. And then also when you sell it, it's cheaper than the silver one. Okay, so that's a common mechanic. But now if we look at the silver plantain, oh, the silver also rots at 7. Let's see if we don't have any other example. Okay, so I guess in this case, oh, it's because yeah, so these two, they don't change. But yeah, with other items, I've noticed that yeah, the rotting mechanic, the rotting, you usually get 1 or 2 days extra when the star quality is higher. Okay, so let's use the scythe, and let's clear some of these weeds. Okay, and as you can see, it's already starting to get dark. Yeah, so like I said, that's the problem, is that it makes it harder for you to see. So I'm kind of rushing to clear a few weeds here. Okay, so the other thing is, let's clear this rock. Okay, and let's use the hoe. So let's start off with the turnip. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and there's our turnip seeds. So now to plant it, you can see when you first plant the turnip seeds, they start to have a little bump. And as you can see, this is what I mean. It's starting to get really hard to see. Okay. Now the nice thing is that and then when you water them, the plot gets darker. Okay, so there is a visible difference between unwatered versus watered plots. But as you can see, as it gets darker, it's harder and harder to see it. And I'm going so before I was doing boxes in terms of the plot, so I was creating the boxes, which I think a lot of people learn to do from other farming games, like oh, I cannot. So there's a tree blocking my way here. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 7. Okay. So let's do our peas. Okay. And luckily, another way you know that you've planted it is because you can see the seeds were decreasing. So it's good to have the exact number of seeds. Now we're just going to water it. And as you can see, another thing you can tell if it's watered is if you go back, you can see that I cannot water it anymore. Okay, there it is. So now I need another plot. So as you can see, it starts to get really hard to see. And let's just take off this rock. Now you don't start off with an axe. If you do the quests, you can you'll get an axe. That's one of the things. Now there's this big weed here. So the funny thing about this big weed is you need an hoe. Okay, and it gives you sticks. Okay, and as you can see, there's this plot with the white grains on it. I believe that means that this plot means that it's fertilized. So if you're able to use it, you'll probably have a better growth. But because it's off. It's a little off center, so I'm just not going to use it. So now I think we have 6. Okay. So yeah, so I've found that I much preferred a strip farming like this, because it's just easier when it comes to more. Yeah. So now we're talking about the starvation mechanic. So it's telling us to eat. Okay. So let's do this. So let's just double check. Okay. So now we have our watering can is about halfway full. So when you first start off in this game, you might not have you don't have the well, and you might not have the well recipe. So there's a little lake in the corner of your farm that you can use to water. So we're just going to refill our watering can. Now, a lot of the other tools have a decay mechanic, but only the watering can doesn't. Instead of a decay, it just runs out of water. Okay? So it's 10 p.m. So we have a few options here. It's a little late to go. Yeah, so it's a little late to go to the town. You can, however, you're not going to have enough time to come back. So now in this game, there is no penalty if you stay out late. The thing you just have to watch out for is the sleep, because you will faint if it goes to 0. Now, the interesting thing about this is that if you go to bed, the sleep mechanic replenishes, but the hunger mechanic doesn't replenish. So that means if I go to bed and I'm like, I only have 2 bars left, then when I wake up the next day, I still only have 2 bars left. So, which, to be honest, makes sense realistically speaking, because, if you go to bed hungry, when you wake up, you'll probably be hungry as well, right? Okay, so let's clear off. So luckily the hay doesn't rot. So, and this is what I mean. This is the reason why you don't really need hay until probably until the next year, if you harvest everything. So we're just going to I'm going to use this to store items. So right now I'm going to store the rocks, the anything that I'm not going to sell right away, and the logs. So the logs, actually, because they replenish daily, they're a good source of money. However, the logs also is a crafting resource. So you're going to use logs a lot for a lot of recipes. So that's why it's, I want to keep as many as possible. And there's going to be a quest that requires a lot of logs. Okay, and as you can see, you can change the name. In this case, I just want to keep it as the wooden chest. One thing I do wish is you can change the color, because each chest has a limited storage. But actually, I find in this game, you don't worry about storage until much later on, because you're given quite a lot of storage right away. So yeah, and also because things rot, so you cannot keep things infinitely, unless they're like resources. You cannot keep things like food items, ingredient items infinitely, because they rot, and they rot quite fast. Yeah. So now we're going to just close this, and we're going to bed. And I love this. I love that you have 2 options. So until rested means until you fully replenish your sleep bar. But until dawn means that you just wake up at like 6:15, regardless of whether or not you replenish it. In this case, we have quite a bit of things here, and we have quite a few things we want to do the next day. So we're just going to go and choose dawn and go sleep. And there's the well. Okay, so let's go click confirm. So yeah, so at midnight, if you level up certain skills, you can choose to learn certain items or certain recipes. Other recipes you get by questing. So in this game, questing is very important because you actually get many more recipes through questing than through the skill level up. So click confirm. So let's take a look at, so if we click on these three lines, you get our menu option here. And let's take a look at our family. So there's us. And as you can see, there's our status. So we're getting close to the hunger. And we're just right now, we're basically are just after childhood. And this bar starts to age as we go further. So we basically chose, I don't think, I'll have to look at our options, but I don't think I did any I need to specify. I think I'm at normal aging, so that means by the end of the year, I will my adult bar will be full. Okay, and so there's the lantern. We don't have one yet. So this is our collections book, which basically shows all the items that we've collected. As you can see, we have mostly forageables. We haven't had a fish. Cooking, we only have a couple recipes. So the nice thing about this is doesn't necessarily mean recipes that you created. It's also anything you've been gifted. Okay, so you can see quite a few things to collect. I have to admit, I don't really pay too much attention to the collection book, so I don't really look at it very much. Now, this one is for our skills. So, yeah, so right now, our highest skill is farming, and then there's the social. And I find that very interesting because in most games, my social is probably one of the lowest. But in this game, because of the trading mechanic, it actually forces you to be a lot more social than you might otherwise be. So this is for when we have fishing lure. Right now, we don't have any. So let's go back, and then here's our calendar. It took me a long time to figure out there's a calendar here, and I like how now there's an indicator of which day you're in, because yeah, previously there wasn't, and it was really hard because you don't see the date anymore. So you have to basically cancel out of this to double check the date if you've forgotten. Okay, and here's our events. So every Sunday there's a market day, and I love how they put in the time. And then there's the fishing contest. Okay, so let's go back. So let's see. So our quest is we have 6 days to complete this quest. So we need to go to the town hall to talk to Quentin, and then we to finally sign the farm over to you. So if you don't visit the town hall after 6 days, the game ends basically, because that means the village repossesses the farm. In the same way, when you get the weekly tax quest, so there's a so remember the taxes he mentioned. So every week, I think it starts on Monday. So every Monday you'll get a notice that taxes are due, and basically now you don't get the notice in mail. It will just show up on your quest line that taxes are due. And then what happens then is if you forget to pay, right? Because some days you won't have money, and if you forget to pay by, I think, Sunday midnight, the game ends as well. So yeah, so this is actually quite important. But as you can see, we have 6 days. So, but chances are we'll probably end up visiting him by the end, before the end of today. So because we're planning on going to the village. So with regards to the villagers, we've already talked to quite a few, and as you can see, there's a few more that we need to meet. And then there's our map. And I love how we have the fast travel right away. And one thing that's also interesting about the fast travel is that it's not really fast travel, because it basically takes about, I think, 30 in-game time, 30 in-game minutes. So when you're clicking on here, it doesn't automatically, like, oh, the time stays the same as when you left. So this can mean that, if you travel and you're like looking for an NPC, by the time you arrive to that location, then the NPC might have already traveled a certain distance. So yeah, and also too, I'm not sure how it impacts events. So if there's specific, like for example, if there's fishing, no, well, maybe not fishing, but if there's an event and then you travel back, I'm not quite sure if that cancels and kicks you out. So yeah, so like for example, the fishing, once you join the fishing contest, there's a timer. So if you use the travel mechanic, I'm not sure if the timer just ends or you get kicked out or something like that. And then here's our tutorial. Okay, so I do find, like, I kind of do like how they did it, wherein they give you a very basic tutorial to walk you through things, and then they basically give you something like a Wikipedia in game to check. The only thing is, I feel like there are some things here that they don't talk about very much, especially with regards to crafting. I feel like there needs to be a section about the different tools so that you know how to use the different tools, or that the tools themselves will give you instructions on how to use them. Also, I've heard that some of the recipes that you can make, especially later on in game, gives different buffs. But as far as I'm aware, the buffs aren't actually stated. So in the actual recipe description. So I hope that's something they fix in the future. Okay. So now, so let's go to the furnace, or to the fire, and you click on them, and as you can see, we get some basic recipes. Now this is the only thing that we have, and pretty much this is the only thing I cook that for consumption. Other because the things I put in the drying rack, I usually end up selling. So this one is the survival salad, and you only need one violet and one plantain. And right now, I think inventory wise, we picked up a few plantains, but we only have one violet, so that's why we can only make one. Okay, so we're going to create it. And then you left click here to pick it up. Okay. The other recipes, as you can see, to get to know what's involved, you have to hover your mouse, and you can see, so for cabbage stew, I need cabbage, potato, and peas. Bread is one of the other recipes that's very easy because you just need flour and egg. The only thing is you have to buy the flour, so you either buy the flour from the bakery or the bakery ladies, or you basically, in the first spring, when if you don't have the wheat yet, you basically buy wheat, and you have to make the flour mill. So the flour mill allows you to grind the flour. It allows you to grind flour, wheat, oats. There's basically every season there's going to be a plant that you grow that's kind of like the wheat. So spring is wheat, summer is corn, fall is oats, and then winter you can't grow anything. So yeah, so those three basically, if you process them through the flour mill, you end up with flour. So usually I do make the flour mill, and I do make flour because, and then I can sell it, or I can choose to use it to make bread, etc. Yeah, because the with regards to the survival salad is really only for spring, because the ingredients don't grow after spring. So yeah, so I kind of like that. So we get mail, and somebody's requesting fish. Okay, So they want it in 4 days. So let's accept it for now, but this basically means we need to get that fishing rod. So, okay, so let's. I find I always want to water right away. The reason why is because I have a habit of forgetting to water, especially because time in this game runs very fast. And if you don't water your crops, what happens is they wilt. So if you forget to water, let's say you plant the seeds and then you forget to water it on the same day you planted it, the seed the next day is gone. So you basically, especially if you buy the seeds, that's a very expensive mistake. If it's already partially grown, what happens then is it wilts. It will reach a wilting stage, and then you basically get it usual. And then the next day, if you still forget to water them, it'll die. So basically, it's the forgetting to water plants sets up this reverse growing mechanic that basically gets the plants dying. So let's just talk to Edwin again and let's see if he has any seeds. Now, we can't really afford the seeds. So, sorry. Edwin says, deer might look innocent, but they'll eat the crops right out of your farm if they get a chance. I feel groggy when I sleep in. So let's see what he has to trade. The thing I watch out for is the tree seeds. So every season, Edwin and then the other farmer will sell seeds that's only for that season. And so right now he has plum seeds. The only thing is, okay, I do have enough logs. So I think I have enough. Okay, I don't have enough logs. I'm still kind of short. Do I want to sell the pemmican? Okay, we'll sell the pemmican. Or alternatively, I'll just come back. Because the thing is, once you sell, for example, if I sell the pemmican, he buys it at 10, but then when I buy it from him, he'll sell it for like 20. So anytime you buy something, so if I buy, for example, the peas, if I try reselling it, I'll sell it for like 12. So it always gets cut in half. So I always recommend don't sell anything you don't want to. So in this case, let's just sell these two items. So I can't afford the plum seeds. I'll have to remember to come back to him later on when I have more money, so I can try to buy that. Okay, and let's go and get this log over here. And then we're going to go back up the forest because, like I said, it's always good to do the forest in the mornings or during the day because you're usually more likely to get items. So, Jacob. So I'll try to remember. I'll try to remember that. So he basically said your name. I am Jacob Riles. So let's talk to him. The color of indigo is somewhere between blue and purple. It's hard to describe, but there's nothing else like it. So the nice thing about this game is there's a dyeing mechanic. Now I haven't really done much dyeing in this game because dyes are very expensive and clothes are very expensive. So, but that's definitely something I'd love to explore. Alvin Whitfield was the first mayor of Honeywood many moons ago. So let's trade. So he has different. So he has apricots, he has cherries, and he has plum. So this is definitely somebody else we'll need to talk to, and he has a lot of money. So we can definitely sell him a lot of goods. So let's just try to talk to them again. Now, with regards to the trees, you want to try to get them as early as possible because the trees usually mature in 15 days. And so, if you can get them early enough, that means you have a chance of harvesting in the same season you plant them. But yeah, so that's why I want to try to see if I can get as much items, and even if it means selling the wood, I might do that so that I can have the seeds. So as you can see, nothing to pick up. Oh, oh, a pawpaw. So a pawpaw is a really interesting fruit, but it only lasts for 1 day. But it's, if you can pick it up, make sure you don't miss it because it sells for quite a bit. So it's a, yeah. And yeah, so one of the things here is that if you're not going to be able to finish the recipes. Oh, here's another pawpaw. Unless you turn off the food rotting mechanic. And actually, let's just look at our options. So right now we're normal. We have the time fishing game. I do turn the fishing game off because the fishing game is actually quite easy, but I do feel it takes too long. Um, and I think in this run through, my goal is to go through the one season, and I want to accomplish as much as possible in one season. So I'm going to leave everything else, but I will turn off item decay, because if you don't turn it off, you're not going to be able to do a lot of the recipes. For example, like the pawpaw, because you only have 1 day to do the pawpaw, then you need to do the pawpaw recipe pretty much on the same day you pick the pawpaw. So yeah, so I'm going to turn it off, and that will make this run through cozier. And I apologize for people who might want me to play it exactly the way the game is initially set up, but I do feel that the reason these options are available is so for people to choose to play however they want. So yeah, so in this case, I want to try to get as many of the recipes as possible, and so I will turn it off, and I might end up selling the pawpaw, or I don't want to sell off both of them, but I might end up selling one of them. Okay, and let's close. And let's go through. Okay, and actually let's just save the game. So right now we have the autosave, so let's just do an autosave 1. Okay, and once again we still don't have the mining, so let's just once again reorganize our things here. I don't want to accidentally consume the pawpaw, so I'll just move it down here. And as you can see, we now have 1 violet and we still have a couple of plantains, so we can make another survival salad. So yeah, so that's why the survival salad, and usually you only need one. So if you're able to consume one a day, even though in terms of how much it gives you, it's quite limited, but if you're at least able to consume one a day, that should keep you from starving. Okay, especially if you invest in building either drying racks or the preservative jars, because every time you process food, especially, oh, excellent. Okay, so let's talk to her. So Rose Swain, so you're the new farmer in town. I'm Rose Swain and I'm a fisher. So yeah, she's basically the person that we can talk to get the fishing rod. So let's talk to her more. Daniel Hopkins makes tools for all the farmers in Honeywood. It's an important job. If you didn't know, Luna McBell has some crops growing in the pea patch over by the sawmill. I actually don't know what they keep saying, pea patch. I actually don't know what is a pea patch, to be honest. At first, when I first saw this, I thought they were stuttering. But then I noticed all the characters say it. So I'm like, okay, all the characters cannot be stuttering over the same word. So that's when I realized this is actually the name of that patch. So I think it's the patch right across from Jacob. And I think that serves more like a community garden, so other people can plant there. Okay. Now, as far as I'm aware, you cannot plant there, but you'll see different NPCs popping up there planting. So let's trade with her. Ooh, the fishing rod is 85. And she already has, ooh, and there's a gold star item here, which we will need for a future quest. So let's see if we can pick it up. And let's pick up the perch, which is we need for a quest. Ooh, right away, that's 133. So let's sell this. Sell this. So I never really sell the violets because I want it for the survival. And let's see if we can sell. Okay, so as you can see, we get money back. Now, okay, let's sell all of the logs. Okay, and let's just, because I do want to try to pick up the the seeds. So we still end up with 77. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's try to grab as many things as possible. Okay, especially the logs, because like I said, we're going to need it. I can't remember if the well needs logs, but I think it does. So right now, we want to make sure we have enough logs to do the well quest. The well item. So yeah, so there's trees here. Okay. And you know what? I am going to do, because it's getting jerky, so let's go 0 for the VSync. Okay, and let's close. And hopefully that will make the run through smoother. We've already talked to the Odells, so we're just not going there. You want to try to meet as many new people as possible. So I don't know. Did it make it more jerky when I took off VSync? Let's put 1. Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry. I'm just trying to. I feel like it's kind of jerking around. I don't know if that's to do with the update, or maybe do I have too many games installed in this computer? Like I said, this computer is not really meant for gaming, so we'll see. Okay, so this is a new person. Nice to meet you. I'm Jessup Edwards, and I'm the doctor. I hope you're taking good care of that farm. So, yeah, something that I really like about this game is the fact that there's diseases, and the fact that you can actually pass on diseases to the NPCs, and the NPCs can pass it on to you. So yeah, so if you talk to somebody and they are like, oh, I'm not feeling well, there's a good chance that when you wake up the next day, you're also not going to be feeling well, which I find is very interesting. Now, I have seen from other YouTube videos some people commenting about how they struggle because they end up dying right away. And yeah, so uh, well, knock on wood, so far I haven't had that problem. So we'll avoid it. But definitely one of the things we want is we want to save up 200 coins as soon as possible to get this inoculation. Okay, so I always try to get the inoculation right away, and that might be one of the reasons I haven't had much issues with diseases. Okay, okay, so let's go talk to him more. Honeywood has survived another winter. No surprise there. I heard from Edward Bailey that taking care of pigs is a messy job. I can't say I'm surprised. Okay, so let's go trade. Okay, and he has a plantain, so I want to buy that from him, and I want to sell him the mullein, which is basically used to make soap, but we don't have any capability of making soap right now. Actually, I've always sold this because usually I play with the rotting mechanic on, but now that these won't rot, I might as well save it so that I have a few to that I can use in the future. So I might sell. Well, actually, you know what? I'll sell it. I'll sell it for now, and then because I want to save as much money as possible, so I can trade for at least one tree. Okay, and now, and as you can see, the any of the cures are very expensive, and one thing as well is because their inventory adjusts, the cures for the whatever disease you have may not be available on the day you get the disease. So that's also something that I find to be very interesting, and I love his setup as well. So let's move on, and there's the town hall, but and then there's an address here. So as you can see, we're here. So there's a quest board. So they want wool. There's no way we can get wool. That's too expensive. So this is something that's very interesting. Sometimes people want quests that you can't afford right away. So just you don't need to accept it. You don't need to reject it. I find I never reject the quest because if you reject it, they disappear from the quest board. And sometimes you never know. You might not want to accept a quest right away, but then if the RNG helps you, sometimes you're able to gather the items, either through being gifted it or by getting it somehow. And so you might come back later and accept it with the items already available. Now let's look at this one. So this one wants shrimp, and they are giving a recipe. So right away you want to try to get the recipes as much as possible. So now the thing is, we do need, this is an ocean fish, and then the other quest is the other quest is a lake fish. So, and because this one we can accept at any time, let's skip this for now and then we'll come back to it, because I don't once you accept the quest, the timer starts. So, and then let's talk to, so I won't talk to Quentin right away. Let's just talk to a couple of people first. So here's Lewis. Nice to meet you. I'm Lewis Johns and I'm the butcher. I love how there's a butcher because it's usually the rancher in a lot of games is usually the same person as the butcher. So it's kind of interesting that they've separated it in this game. So for someone who just does it as a hobby, Gigi Johns is pretty knowledgeable about fishing. It's kind of funny. Gigi is his mother, as far as I'm aware. So it's this lady right here, and so the fact that he refers to her by her full name, uh, is fun. Is very funny. Okay. You should walk slowly when you're in the graveyard. It's disrespectful otherwise. Yeah, very, very true. Okay, so as you can see, he sells a lot of the meats. In this case, I actually rarely cook with the meats because, as you can see, they're quite expensive. So but obviously later on when we have more money, we'll be dealing with that. So let's go and talk to this person. So you're the one who bought that vacant farm out east. I'm Gigi Johns, by the way. How do I feel about the king? Fishing might seem boring, but when you feel the tug of a big one, oh boy, it's amazing. Yeah, I find it interesting that, you know, this is basically colonial era, so it's 1700s colonial era, and I do not know necessarily, but I do feel like Honeywood is kind of like early America, And so I find it interesting that the villagers basically have distinct opinions about the king and the home country, um, because I find that makes this game more immersive. Okay, so and as you can see, if we click trade, she basically shares the same items as her son, except she has a couple other items because I guess that's her hobby. She fishes. Okay, then yeah, let's go. Let's try to see if we can go and visit this person. Oh, they're closed. Okay, so okay, that's their blacksmith. But before we go talk to the blacksmith, let's see if there's, so here's the beach, and usually you can pick up items here. So similar to the forest, it's better to pick up items here earlier in the day versus later in the day, because I find by evening usually there's nothing left. So I think what happens is the other NPCs pick them up, and so what happens is you have to buy it from them. Okay, so there's yeah, okay, so right now we're still hungry because the so let's just move the gold star items to the bottom. So let's talk here to Roland. So the new farmer out east. I'm Roland Smith and I'm a blacksmith. I must say it takes some serious talent to knead dough like Martha Lloyd. If you buy some honey from Mabel Chesney, you can use it to sweeten just about anything. So Roland, initially I wasn't a fan because he has the mustache. It's not my favorite look for guys. However, I found like Roland to be like the sweet, one of the sweetest characters in this game, and he is actually one of the NPCs I usually want to marry. But I've heard some pretty interesting things about William Watt, which we'll meet later on. So I'm kind of thinking that if I do marry, I might target William at this time. But the nice thing if you do end up marrying Roland is that he's the one of the NPCs you talk to all the time. And so you need to basically he basically repairs all your tools, and then you talk to him all the time to buy nails and iron bars because you cannot make them right off the bat. So you can see I can have him repair tools, and right now my tools are well, the hoe kind of needs repairing, and then the scythe needs repairing as well. I would go with the hoe because I don't think I need the hoe, but the scythe I do want to clear maybe a couple more items, so I'm just going to click repair. You do need to pay attention to the durability because once it's basically reaches zero, the item disappears, and then you have to buy it. And when you buy like the simple tools, they're quite expensive, as you can see. Okay. And then you can also buy upgraded tools. So as you can see, they have upgraded tools. I believe the once that the steel is the highest version. So once you are able to buy steel tools, then it's basically infinite durability. Okay. The watering can, yeah, this is one of my goals, is to upgrade to the watering can as soon as possible, because this means that I don't have to keep refilling the watering can as often. So but as you can see, it's almost 300 coins and we are far from that. So we're going to just sell this mussel that we picked up. And as you can see, so the pawpaw sells for 45. So it's one of the more expensive items that you can sell. Okay. And okay, so yeah, so usually I want to buy nails from him. But at this point I want to I want to get the a tree first. So we're just going to, and here's Daniel Hopkins. if I don't marry Roland, I actually want to adopt Daniel. So, okay. So Daniel says, I want Candied Peach. Mom was telling me about a ghost she saw. I'm scared now. So yeah, one of the interesting things about this game is you can actually kill NPCs. There's a character that sells poisoned a poison cake, and if I gift that poison cake to a villager, then the villager dies the next day. And so, if you want to adopt, usually the kids have to be orphans. So I'm definitely contemplating it because I definitely want Daniel to be my child. So yeah. So as you can see, he shares the same, most basically the same blacksmith inventory, but as you can see, he has extra stuff because of his hobby, and his hobby is more just that he's a child. Okay, so so just like any child, they pick up all sorts of random things. So now let's go explore the village. Oh, we missed somebody. Okay, well, we'll meet him on another day. Okay, so let's go here. So if we go through here, this is the graveyard. So the graveyard, basically, I don't always go to the graveyard, but there is a tree here. And right now, we are basically needing trees. Okay. Okay. So for some reason, I cannot shake this. Um, and then, oh, a couple more people to meet here. So when you see the question mark, that means that this person has a quest. So welcome to Honeywood. I'm Matthew Bailey. You're from the mainland, yes? Then let's talk to him. Spring is the perfect time for taking long walks, not too hot and not too cold. I kind of agree. Louis Johns told me that some meats cook best when the fire is hot, while others prefer to go low and slow. That's very true. So let's take a look at his quest. Oh, he also wants the perch. And he has, ooh, spinning wheel. That's actually really awesome. Okay, let's go for him. And let's trade. So he's basically the rancher, and as you can see, you can buy lots of ranch related items from him. The only thing is, I find he doesn't sell a lot of the food ingredients you get from the animals. Instead, if you want to buy things like cheese, milk, etc., usually you have to talk to his kids because his kids have it. So I find that's very interesting. As you can see, this you right away get the prices of the different animals, and they tell you right away whether they need to be in a coop or not. And also remember, things change as well. So you're going to get different animals every day. And as you can see right here, we have two options. We can either get a cat or we get a puppy, so a corgi dog. And basically, now I don't know why you get the heart and the starving, because as far as I'm aware, I have had the pets before. You usually do not need to do anything with the pet. You don't even need to interact with them because the pets, I don't think there's a like meter with the pets at all. And so you can just let, basically the pets are there to just wander around. They don't give you anything, and their meters don't seem to go down. I don't know if there's a planned change to that in the future. However, one thing I do know is that you're right, as far as I'm aware, you can only have one pet in the farm. So basically, if I buy the cat, I cannot buy the dog. Instead, I have to sell the cat and buy the dog. And so basically, you get a 50% discount if you want to change pets. Now, they have added new dogs. So this is a new dog that I haven't seen before. And this cat I have seen before. So yeah, so it's very interesting. Now, one of my favorite YouTubers found that they actually sell a pig as a pet. So And the pig looks so cute because it has a hat. So I don't know if there's only just that one pig, or if there's several, but this is not the same pig, because as you can see, this is a barn animal. So the other one will just say something like here, wherein it says they will wander around your farm. So that's the one that's a pet. Okay. Now, as far as I'm aware, the each barn animal only gives one item. So, for example, the cow only gives milk. The sheep only gives wool. And so, which I find kind of interesting, because I mean, obviously, sheep should give both wool and milk, but yeah. And then with the pig, I've found that um the pig actually doesn't give anything. It's just raised purely for meat. And yes, you can kill the barn animals here, and sometimes you might have to, because sometimes some quests require for example, pork, and then the butcher doesn't sell it. So yeah. As far I haven't really been able to build the barn, because the barns are quite expensive. So in this playthrough, I hope to be able to build the barn. Okay, so let's cancel out of this, and then let's meet their child. Oh. One. Okay, so you're from the mainland. That's so cool. I'm Edward Bailey. A field full of corn is a sight to behold. The plants are so tall. I like it when my mom knits stuff for me. Aw, it's so sweet. The kids are actually quite sweet, and as you can see, he shares some of the items. So some of these are decorative items, and luckily they actually say that. So the decorative items you cannot, they're just there to decorate. Okay. And there's cherry trees, so let's pick them up. Now, with regards to any fruit bearing trees or fruit bearing bushes, you don't have to pick it up every day, because what happens is that they start adding. Now, you should pick it up every 4 days, because that's the maximum each tree or bush has. And so it's a bit of a waste if you don't pick it up every 4 days. Okay. So there's a couple of trees here that we're going to pick up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to head to the lake. We're going to head back to our house. And oh, here's another NPC. Let's go talk to her. I'm Clementine Hull, and I'm a hunter. Wish you luck with your new farm. It's not an easy job. Luna McBell operates the lighthouse like clockwork. She never misses a beat. If you visit the forest in the morning or evening, you might just spot a deer. So yeah, so we can meet a bear and a deer. So let's go trade. Ooh, yeah. So I always try to get the violets, because that's basically food. And 7 gold, that's very cheap. So, yeah, so 14. So right now we have chickweed that we can sell, and we have the mullein. So right now I sell those, so we don't have to spend so much. And let's go here. Now it is pretty late, so there's a chance. So basically, Jacob or Edwin, who we want to talk to we want to get at least one tree seed. They've basically gone into their house by now, so hopefully, now the thing is, the houses are actually open to you, all day, but the issue is you don't is if they've gone upstairs or gone through a door, you cannot go into the other doors or upstairs. Ooh, Walter. So Walter Hull is basically Clementine's husband. Walter and Clementine I find to be a very sweet couple. They're two of my favorite couples in this game. I find the elderly couples well, actually no, not all the elderly are cute, but Walter and Clementine I find to be very sweet, And so I always like to interact with them. Hello, I'm Walter Hull, and I'm a hunter. You're going to become a farmer, I presume. Molly Chesney told me about this funny mushroom she found the other day. Apparently, it was edible. Watch out for those death cap mushrooms. Don't eat them. They got their name for a reason. Okay? So, yeah, so he shares the same inventory as his wife. One of the things I'd love to get is this Bear Fair rug. He's the only place that sells this, as far as I'm aware. Um, and so now let's travel back to our farm. Okay, and we'll try to visit Jacob's house, and hopefully he's in his house and that he hasn't gone upstairs or inside his bedroom, so that we can still buy things from him. Yes. Ooh, Jacob has a really nice house. Good to see you, fine sir. So let's go trade. So let's okay, so we want, so there's already a cherry tree, so two of them. So we don't really need cherry trees. Instead we need either apricots or plums. I think the plum is actually, I think, more useful. Well, I don't know, but I know there's a recipe that uses the plums. So let's trade. Okay, so as you can see, this means we can so let's, I want to keep as many logs as possible, and so I think this is good. So let's just trade this, so that leaves me with 7 gold. Okay, excellent. So now I'm going to try to plant this before I go fishing. Okay, there's another plantain, which is good because we have several violets. So, yeah, generally speaking, it's good to eat at least two, because two of the survival salads a day. That's the ideal meal. Okay, so let's just sort our inventory once again. So any gold star items, like I said, yeah. So basically, this, you want to turn it off if you want to complete. Basically, there's a something similar to the community center later on in the game, and one of the things they always ask for is the gold star items. So you want to, any gold star items that you can purchase from the NPCs or that you harvest, make sure you keep it. So now, so yeah, so as you can see, there's the instructions for the fish. So let's just click OK, and let's just go. So yeah, so I wish you get that pop up when you first place a crafting tool, so that you know what to do with the crafting tool. Okay, okay, there's our first fish. Okay. Oh, I forgot to plant the seeds. Okay, well, let's do this. Okay. So unfortunately, this, even if you get the gold, actually, if you get the gold item, I think it is, you do want to keep it. So yeah, so as you can see, we're getting shoes. Generally speaking, you want to have a fishing lure when you're fishing, but right now we don't have any, because having the fishing lure basically increases your chance of basically getting actual fish. Okay. So it's good. So we're going to use one of these fish to dry. Unfortunately, you cannot process the frogs, which I guess makes sense. But yeah. We haven't been having much luck. Now I will stop fishing at around um 10:30. The reason why is because I forgot to do the planting. So, okay, so let's just sort this. So when I'm fishing, I always so you can basically throw away this algae because nobody buys them. And the shoe as well you can throw away because you cannot sell that. Now these other ones like the frog, etc., you can purchase. You can sell. So it's good to keep them. The leaves, I find this leaf is like you cannot use it for anything, so I would just throw it away. The twigs is sometimes I would keep them because I've had quests that asks for twigs. The sand is used later on for glass. So yeah. Okay, so and then I usually like to put in the thing I'm searching up top so I know that I've how many I have left. I think I need two for that one with the recipe for Matthew, I believe. But obviously we have another one that requires it as well. So the more we catch, the better. So I'm going to have to stop in so I'm just going to do after this one I'm just going to do one more and then I have to plant the seed because I want to maximize the growth so that I'll have a chance to harvest from it. And yeah, so we haven't had much luck. So yeah, as you can see, we're now halfway through the sleep mechanic. So as you can see, he's basically developed an exhausted expression. He's also hungry. Um, so that's why you're getting this face. Oh, and I forgot. Ah, I forgot. I just traded the hoe. Oh well. So let's just go to let's put in. So I'm just going to throw this away. So yeah. So unfortunately, the earliest I can um uh, that was a mistake because that means the earliest I can plant this seed is tomorrow. But 15 days, so we are now in what was it again, we're now in the second day, so that means we should be able to so the tree should be grown by the 17th, so that gives us about 5 days of fruits. So yeah, and basically every day one fruit grows, so that gives us about 5 plums. Now you don't have to the tree is not the only source of the plums. If you talk to the children often have fruits, all the fruits in the season, so they would randomly have it, so you can buy it off them if you need them as well. But obviously it's nice if we can grab it because I always find like I find it annoying that sometimes you'll plant these trees and then you don't have a chance to benefit from them until the year is over. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to rush this. Okay, and now we still have so we still have the town hall, we have the fish. So this one, so Sarah wants it, and she wants it, so she also wants two, and she's giving us a food recipe. Okay, and then Matthew is giving us the spinning wheel recipe. I actually prefer to give it to Matthew first, even though we have 7 days and we only have 3 days for Sarah. That's because the spinning wheel we can use to craft. We can use it to basically craft thread, and you're going to need thread to build some of the future blueprints. I actually don't know if you can make clothes in this game, but it would be interesting. Okay, so let's go and go to bed. Oh, actually, I want to put in that fish here so we get that extra day, because it takes 2 days for the fish to show up. So we're just going to sleep until dawn and then go to sleep. Oh, and here's the drying rack recipe. There's the lure recipe. So this is the one you can buy this off the Fisher Girl, so Rose, but and it's cheaper if you make it, but it does require nails, so you have to buy nails. So let's just save, and basically so I'm just going to name it Alex. Okay, Alex 1. Okay, and let's just click save. And so that's it for today's video. So I hope you guys will watch the next one or join me for the next one. Okay, have a lovely day. Take care. Bye.